Good, beautiful morning, YouTube. It is a sunny but cold. I think it was like 20 degrees when I left the house finally. It was like 16 when I woke up this morning. Wife was complaining. She's like, the house is cold. I was like, well, I'll go turn the heat up a little bit. You know, we got a heat pump like most everybody else. I go in there and it's sitting on like 68. I'm like, what the world? But the emergency heat's on. And for those of you who don't know, it kicks over to emergency heat when the regular heat can't keep up. The reason was he couldn't keep up. It was 16 degrees outside. So yeah, it finally got to where it could start keeping up a little bit. What makes it feel a lot better out here is there's no wind, which is odd for over here at the farm. If you've watched any of the other videos, this is a windy place over here. About all the time is windy, but we're starting to try to thaw out, I think, this week. So yeah, what I'm going to do today, just go ahead and give you a heads up for anybody that wants to watch it. I'm over here mainly, I'm going to start me a little hot fire in there, get that place kind of toasty so I can thaw my feet out, because yeah, still a little bit of snow and stuff on the ground, ice mainly. But then I'm going to work on digging a couple more holes. I'm going to try to get my posts put in. I also got to sometime today put some hydraulic oil over into the backhoe for whenever we start digging again. It was a little low last time it was used, so I got some jugs of that we're going to put in. But probably won't really record that because it's just slow pouring in hydraulic oil. But yeah, I'm going to try to work on my log deck and get it a good start. And hopefully try to clean up some of the mess that's accumulated around the sawmill. The reason the mess has accumulated is weather, and it's been a roofed place to put some of this stuff that I wanted to keep in the dry, but guess what? It didn't keep it in the dry. With the wind and stuff, the way it blowed, I mean, it literally, go back and look at some of the other videos, it packed this thing full of snow. I mean, it had snow in here just as deep as it did outside. Now, from the looks of it, it all dried up in here and thawed out really quick. So that's awesome. But I need to get something done with this walnut that's over here. The poplar that's sitting outside, I didn't sticker it, so it's already starting to do the little mold thing, which is not a big deal. It's going to get put on this saw house, so it doesn't got to be perfect. It's going to be the walls for this. I'm going to have some doors and what have you. But anyway, today's number one, I guess you'd say, priority is getting that log deck up and going. I don't think I'll be doing any sawing today, mainly because it's so cold, and I do have all that stuff right in the way of loading logs. So if I can get that done today or tomorrow, then we'll be good to go on loading logs a lot easier. So yeah, I'm gonna go get me a little fire started, and then I'll get back with you guys. Still, I don't know if you can see. Yeah, it's pretty cold in here. So, got some firewood, got the fire going. I'm gonna close up the door. I mean, this box, guys, y'all gotta understand, it's not insulated at all. Like, that is not an insulation board. I thought it was when I first got it, but it's not. It's like fiberglass covered plywood. So I mean, it acts a little bit, I guess. It seals it off, but it's just a small area. This thing's 18 by 8, I think, 7, 9 or something like that. A lot of holes in it. I mean, there's cracks on all the corners and what have you. I picked the box up from the original landowner, where they cut out the garage, the original garage and stuff. He had this sitting inside the garage along with a gooseneck trailer that I need to restore and get back up and going for hauling the loader and stuff. But he had it, told me he'd price all this and that, both things and several other little stuff all together, and so we got it in one big buy. So yeah, I just figured I'd turn it into a little place like an office slash storage for some of the stuff, some of the smaller things that I don't really want over there at the saw house. I'll probably move, the only big thing I'll probably move in here, I'll probably move the blade in here, my extra blade, and hang it up on one of the walls, like, you know, setting to where it's out of the weather good and out of the way. It'll fit good against the wall too. But like just, you know, cane hooks, things of that sort. Stuff that you don't really want sitting right there, but you want it close enough to where you can get to it. Because we're pretty close to the meal here. That, and I wanted a place to keep warm. Also, if I'm ever blessed enough to be able to really get this up and going to a point where I'm doing custom work, I can use it sort of as an office. But reality is, it's probably just going to be sort of a hangout place to stay warm when it's cold and we ain't got totally toasty yet working. So I'm gonna let my fire do its thing. I'm burning some of the poplar slabs off of it, off the meal. It's one good thing about being close to the meal. Plenty of firewood handy. So yeah. Also, I don't know, I haven't checked to see if this will fit, but I want y'all guys to check this wrench out. Look at this thing. What? It's like, I don't know, 3.5 feet long. I don't know if it was a custom made wrench. It looks kind of custom, but it also kind of looks factory, just from a long time ago. I'm thinking this is the wrench for the nut that goes on the blade nut. But I haven't checked yet. I just got it. Father-in-law found it, gave it to me, said he believed it would fit. He wasn't sure himself, so I just throwed it in here. I hadn't really walked over and checked it. My own little bit of laziness. So yeah, let's go check this. See if it'll fit. If I don't fall out of this thing and break my leg. Door shuts good. Won't take 2 seconds to check, and then we'll get to work on digging holes. That'd be a good way to warm up today. So yeah, I'm gonna try to do this and not break my neck. This thing's heavy too. No, but it's close. I don't know if you guys can see. It's really close. So, other than it going totally bad, I mean, it's like really close. I'll take one day and I'll just widen it out just a little bit, because it don't take much. But I'll just widen it out a little bit, and that'll give me a good long leverage to break it loose. But so looks like somebody's already done some torching to the lower half, so maybe they've tried to get it deeper or whatever they was doing. But we'll just widen that out because it's real close, and we'll go from there. Anyway, I'm gonna put this back up. I'll set you guys up, and we'll try to get some pieces of power pole down here. I got them stored in a different area up closer to the entrance of the property, and keep open the door and hold that. And we get some power poles in the ground. I need 2 more holes dug and 4 more power poles, and then it'll be leveling up and cutting them off. So that'll be a little bit of a job in itself. So yeah, I don't know how long the battery's going to last out here in the cold. I got an extra one, so hopefully I can keep track of it. Alright, let's get started. Guys, I want to tell you something. I hate sawing power poles. I love them as far as the treating factor, but brand new chain on the Husqvarna. I just got it because the other chain was not the right size, and I was going to end up messing up my saw. Okay, whatever. New chain, all great. I was tickled with it. I was like, well, I don't really want to saw power poles with it, but you know what? Got to use it anyway. I thought it was a knot. It was not a knot. Look at that. It's a dadgum nail. It was right in with the knot, and the way it was dirt was covered around it just a little bit, and it aged. It looked perfectly like a knot. I'd started here, and I thought, well, I'll give me a little bit more room. Started there and cut right into it. Hence why I hate sawing power poles. Electrical poles, telephone poles, whatever you want to call them. I didn't saw it bad, but brand new chain. Anyway, I don't even know where to go from here. Disgusting. Anyway, I'm going to get this pole, drag it over, and drop it in that hole with a bunch of water in it. Yeah, there's a bunch of water in it from where everything melted off. And I did not dig the other hole because, spin you around here, that one's got a flange on it. This side does not. It's just a little bit shorter. It's about a foot shorter. But I got a flanged piece that I'm either going to slide into that, or I'm going to dig the hole and mount it right up into it. And just, it'll be a little off. But I kind of like them to be the same, so I may take a piece that is flanged, make a sleeve, slide in it to where it's got good solid set on, and make it set that way. But either way, I'm going to hold off on digging that hole. If you're wondering, Jason, why are you digging these by hand? Don't you have a tractor with a post hole digger on the back of it? Yes and no. So when I was building this monstrosity, I went to back up after putting one of these poles in the ground using my forks to lift it up. It was a sketchy, non-OSHA approved mess. Either way, when I went to back up, I forgot to lift up my post hole digger. So I'm backing up, and I didn't realize it at the time. I noticed it, I was like, well, my brake must be hung. So I reached out, my brake's not hung. I turned around, and I had run and over my post hole digger, and the auger went back and under it and bent the shaft in the gearbox. Broke the gearbox housing. So the pole itself, all the assembly is good, but the gearbox is bad. So I've been on keeping my eye out for a good used post hole digger to replace that one. Other than that, that's the reason I'm not using the post hole digger. I'm just roughly estimating on how to level these up right now. Then I will pull a string and string level it. That is not the most accurate way. That is not even the way I like to do on stuff I want perfect. But a string level will get you close enough for loading logs on a log deck. Because I'm going to probably have just a little slight lean that direction if I can help it. And if it's just a little off one way or another, as long as it's level enough to where when you start rolling, it'll roll. And when you set them down, they'll stay. So that's the biggest thing. Let me drag this pole over here and set it in the ground and see what happens. I hope I'm right. Otherwise, I just cut a pole for nothing. I cut it wrong. I knew when I stood it up, I cut it wrong. Let's go cut us another one. Unfortunately. So I forgot to turn the camera on. My bad. Anyway, I got that one, all of them in. I got splashed with water on that one. Told you guys I would. You should have seen it. I jumped back. I thought I had the camera on. Come over here. It's off. Forgot to turn it on. Anyway, so what I'm going to try to do now is I'm either going to start up the power unit, pull the carriage back, which is probably what I ordered to do, and go ahead and pull a string off of it, because what I got to do is I got to account for that being taller, so it's going to sit on there. So I got to measure, I'm thinking it's 7 or 8 inches, and once I get a string pulled tight, measure that, Then I got to cut them all down about 6, 7 inches, whatever it is. I'm going to probably leave it up about, I'm thinking like an inch higher. And the only reason I thought about doing an inch or two I feel like it's going to be my max, is so that when I got that much of an angle, a couple inches angle, going from this rail on the log deck down to my carriage head, so you're not as apt to have it roll back onto the thing. You know, if you got a knot or something like that, it's able to stay down there and stay in place until I can get it dogged in. I'm not sure yet. I mean, I can always lift it a little bit by putting a board under each one of them, like unbolting it, putting a spacer board, oak or something like that underneath it to sort of act as a spacer to lift it up if I want a little bit more. But I'm thinking an inch, because it ain't but roughly 3 feet. So an inch and 3 foot, I'm thinking that'll be enough. Just a little bit. Whoop, I almost lost the camera. Just a little bit, just enough to get it to slope down there. I don't want it dead perfectly straight. So yeah, I'm gonna go get my string and stuff, because I think it's in the container with my level, and then we're gonna come back, and I'm probably gonna maybe put some screws and some boards and just kind of connect these together, just so they don't move a whole lot, and I can hit them with a hammer to get them to go back and forth or whatever I need to do. I think it'll work. Let's just see what happens. So I got one on. That thing about broke my wrist trying to twist that. If you'll notice, that one does not touch quite. It's a little off, and I think when I set it up our first time, you could see a bow in it. So it raises in the middle just a little bit, about that much. I might have cut it just a hair, but the majority of it's in that sweep. So if I pull that over and plumb that post upright like it's supposed to be, and get it concreted in, then when I bolt that down, I'll be able to pull that hopefully down a little bit, and over a period of time of logs sitting on it and rolling and stuff, that'll help level that back out too. But yeah, that's basically where she's going to go, right there. I haven't put a level on it yet, so let's see let's see what happens when I put a level on it. I mean, I know it's going to have that little bit of a bow, but it should still show pretty level. I'm hoping it leans just a hair that way toward the mill. And what does she show? I don't know if y'all guys can see that in the camera. Nope. Yeah, maybe. There you go. She's right on the money. Like, I mean, it's good. I'm not going to complain about that one bit. The biggest thing with these log decks, as long as they're pretty level, you'll be able to roll a log. I mean, you can move it one way or another for the most part, and I can always come in here and shim just a little bit. I can unscrew it, unbolt from the post once the post is concreted in the ground and stuff, and I'll be able to shim it up and actually move it up, down, whatever. So put a metal plate, something like that, if it starts setting to one side or something. But the biggest thing is, it's in there, and it's pretty well right now. I'm pleased with it, and that's a good height too. It's not so high that, you know, it's going to be too much. Because, like, for instance, whenever I was using my loader to load the carriage, I'd get down in this hole in this dip here, and it was just a pain. You had to lift it so much higher. This way, back there in the back, I haven't measured from the ground, but what do you figure? 3.5 feet? Let's check, just a curiosity. Can't be over 4. 3'5". No joke, 3'5". So I was within an inch. That's not bad for eyeball. Anyway, I'm gonna go across, level these 2 posts up. I don't know if I'll be able to set that one on there yet or not, because I'm thinking it's going to counterbalance, but it might sit on there to at least give me an idea what it's going to look like and be able to kind of screw it into place. Those 2 are pretty stout. That one's a big one. These holes are a little big because I wanted some movement in them, and that's the reason that one moves, and that one, all of them, I'm gonna have to plumb them all. I just wanted to sit it on there, and I'll be able to lock it down a little bit, and then I'll put some braces and pour some concrete down the hole, let that set up. I don't know if I'll do that today because it's so cold. I might do it tomorrow. Tomorrow's supposed to warm up again. If I can do it tomorrow morning-ish, then it'll have time to, for the most part, cure out before it gets real cold tomorrow night. But let me get back on this. I'm going to cut these other ones and at least get them knocked out, and then I may put some cross braces on here and there to kind of level and plumb them up. Battery looks like it's going dead, but you guys see the principle behind this log deck. I'm going to have just a fold down connection between the log deck and the carriage that I'll move back and forth. I got a couple ideas for that. We'll get to that when I get to that point. But this is going to be really nice. I'll be able to put, honestly, at least 10. I mean, 10 decent sized logs. I mean, it's 20 foot. The shortest one is 19.6. So, and I plan on making it a little longer. So, even 20 foot on both of them is going to give me at least 10 2-foot diameter logs. So, you know, that's good size. And 10 logs is plenty for, you know, to set on here at a time. I probably won't even have at me on here at one time, truth to be told. But hopefully it'll all work out and I'll be good to go. It's coming. The front 2, I had enough concrete to concrete those front 2, which I'm really glad about because they're the tallest and they're going to help support everything else. This whole thing is going to be tied in together. I mean, like, the whole saw house itself is all tied in together. This mill will be like, I ain't gonna say impossible, but it'll be a lot of work to get it out of here. It's a mobile chassis, but I despise, if you've watched any of my other videos, I despise a mobile mill. The reasons I despise a mobile mill are in other videos. Gists of it, they're not nearly as stable. I don't care what you do, you can't get them to hold correctly. Some of your really big, expensive $40,000, $50,000 stuff, maybe, but it's like an all-day process to set it up too. That being said, this is not a mobile mill no more. So we got two Schedule 80, I think these are, 3.5, no, told you wrong, 4.5 inch pipe, steel pipe. This particular post here will get swapped out when I weld in a plug and extend it like just like I think 10 inches. That's all I need to do. And the reason is because it don't have that little foot there. You see that? Yeah, I don't have that little foot on this back one. I put it there so that it won't rock right now. That cross brace will come out. This cross brace will come out. Now, if you look up here, I got one on the mill itself. Let me show you what I got. I notched out see how I notched it out? So that it's actually sitting solid. That one is too, it's just not as deep because it didn't line up as deep. And that one down there is not as big a pole, so it isn't as deep. But it's sitting on solid all the way down through here. It will also get bolted. This side is notched out as well. However, that side did not line up enough to do it. So what I done is I made it the same distance here as I did over there. I'll just put some two really big bolts and bolt it all the way through that, and that'll be more than enough. Basically what I'm doing here is this section here all the way down will get floored even with this little stand deck. The reason I'm going to leave this grate in here is because all the sawdust, it'll be easier for it to fall down. I may replace that later on because I'm not a big fan of it falling down there and collecting up. But for right now, that'll stay. I'm going to put one more post here down to the ground to support the corner of this because it's got a little bit of flex in it, and the corner of this. I'm going to probably do the same thing, either that or stack up some cinder block down there on that end, very end down there. The reason I'm doing this is I'm going to actually have posts or rails, I guess you'd say, that will go from here to the carriage. Most of this system, this top setup, these rails will go all the way over almost next to the carriage, and you just roll them right on. That's great. Problem is, and I've seen this happen on a mill, you go to step over these to get down there to your dogs, to dog it down, or to clean it off, or to move something, or to whatever reason you got to be down there. Sometimes you got to be down there on that end of the carriage. You go to head and back, and I'm clumsy. You step over this last one, you get your foot hung, and before long you're trying to catch yourself before you get into that blade. So what I decided to do is I'm going to make me a walk path, a walk deck, and this is going to fold out, lay down. I got a couple ideas. We'll go into that when I get to it. I'll probably have a temporary thing that'll get me by until I make some metal to get around here. Like I said, I got a couple ideas. Anyway, this is where it's going to be. It's an inch higher than what the level of this, than what the flat of my head blocks. I've heard some people call them L's. I don't really know why they're head blocks. It's the head block part of the sawmill. But anyway, that's what I've always called them anyway. I've heard them called several different things. The carriage, it's about an inch higher, so there'll be a little bit of a roll down to it, but not much. I mean, you're talking about an inch and 4 feet roughly. I'm going to put some floor joists in this. This will probably get 2x6 floor joists. I am not using treated. Yes, it's going outside. for now. Once this is all complete, I'm about to make up my mind for sure about to add on. The reason I didn't want to right off the bat is I didn't know how long just yet. I wanted to play with the mill a little bit to get to that point. Probably going to cover that section of the mill. I'm not going to go completely out with it, just this section. So yeah, I'm going to bring the roof line down just a little bit so that it won't get as bad on the wind blown. I'm going to have a cover. It'll be walled off on the back side and on the end, but I'm probably going to have about I'm thinking like a 20-foot opening here is what I want. I'm thinking 20 feet would be, I think it'll be plenty. I won't be sawing much more than 20 feet ever on this mill. And as of right now anyway. And the reason being is 20 feet, you really start running into the carriage not holding it completely good, because you're looking at carriage, 16-foot carriage. It can do a 20-footer, but it's tight. And laying the boards down and all that good stuff, it's a tight thing, much more than 20 foot. So more than 20 foot, I just don't see happening. I'm not saying I'll never get to that point, but I think if I really had to do a bunch of 20-foot stuff, I would just extend the track on the band mill, and I can extend that for days. Set it on there and saw. I mean, yeah, it's slower, but you're not going to be sawing like 20-foot boards. You're going to be sawing 20-foot beams. So it's not really that big a deal. I mean, if you're going to saw that big. I mean, 2x stuff, 16 to 18 feet is about what you're always going to saw. I mean, that's common. 20 foot's kind of uncommon, but you can get it, but it's just really uncommon. So that being said, there it is. Ta-da! That's what I've got done today. It's sun's already starting to go down. It's not even that late, but it's getting cloudy and already getting cold again. So I may head home here in a little bit. I'm going to probably clean up my tools. I'm not going to do the floor joists just yet. I'm back and forth on whether I even need to. Yeah, probably will. Reason I'm back and forth on whether I need to is if I do floor joists this way, I'll be decking it long ways. And I've thought about going with like a 2x. I got plenty of 2x6s. And do 2x6s and 2x10s and just deck it with 2x stuff. Like this way, like with the floor joist. But that's roughly 3.5 feet in between those. So it's a little bit more than what I want to deal with. I'm figuring 2 foot max on the in between joists. So anyway, catch you guys next time. Stay tuned, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I keep looking over here. Like, if y'all ever see me looking over to the side, it's because the camera, the visual, I don't know if I'm even in the camera shot most of the time. Anyway, see you guys.